Zambia Statistics Agency 2021 Census of Population and Housing Enumeration Manual. Chapter 1. Introduction. A census of population and housing is a primary source of information about the population of a country. The 2021 census is the 60th in the sequence. The previous censuses were conducted in 1969, 1980, 1990, 2000, and 2010. Zambia has maintained a decennial calendar, which means every 10 years, in line with the international standards. The 2021 census is especially exciting as it is the first copy, that is, computer-aided personal interviewing population and housing census in the Zambian history. What is a population census? A population census is a total process of planning, collecting, compiling, evaluating, disseminating, and analyzing demographic, economic, and social data at the smallest geographic level pertaining at a specified time to all persons in a country or in a well-delimited part of a country, according to United Nations 2015. The population census is distinguished from other kinds of field surveys by its traditional background, conducted at specified times in an entire country, legal sanction, and coverage by the whole scale of the operation and the resources normally devoted to it. What is a housing census? A housing census is the total process of planning, collecting, compiling, evaluating, disseminating, and analyzing statistical data relating to the number and condition of housing units and facilities as available to the households pertaining at a specified time to all living quarters and occupants thereof in a country or in a well-delimited part of a country, according to United Nations 2015. Why hold a census of population and housing? The main objective of conducting a population census is to enumerate all the people in the country in order to provide the government, private organizations, individuals, and other stakeholders with the number of persons in each district, township, locality, village, etc., etc., according to age, sex, and other characteristics. For every aspect of planning, it is essential to know the size, structure, and distribution of the population of a country. In case of planning for social services, information is needed on the following. Number 1, education. Planning for education services requires data on the number of children of school-going age who require education at various levels now and in the coming years. The government cannot know where to build the necessary schools and train the required number of school teachers unless it knows where the need is greatest in terms of the number of children of school-going age. Number 2, housing. Government needs to know the number of people in order to plan for adequate housing. Number 3, water supply and sanitation. To plan for improved urban and rural water supply and sanitation facilities accessibility. Number 4, health services. To plan for health services, that is, build hospitals, provide medicines, allocate medical staff etc. in the country, government and other stakeholders need to know the number of people and where they are located in order to provide health services adequately. Number 5, migration. Government needs to know the number of people moving in and leaving Zambia, as well as movements within the country to determine migration patterns. Similarly, for economic services, information is needed on Agriculture. In Zambia, most of the people depend on agriculture for their livelihood. In order to develop agriculture sector, it is essential to know the number of people involved in agricultural activities, their sex, age, education level, and where they are located. Industry. Industry plays a vital role in any country's economy. For instance, mining is a major foreign exchange earner for this country. A large number of people are employed in mining and manufacturing industries. Hence the need to know their numbers, ages, sex, and skills. Businesses. The census data can be used by companies to know where people or households are located to market and identify potential areas for business location or expansion. Who will be counted? The 2021 census will count all people residing in Zambia, with the exception of foreign diplomats and their families accredited to Zambia. Legal powers. The census is being carried out under the provisions of the Statistics Act No. 13 of 2018 of the laws of Zambia. All people residing in Zambia, except foreign diplomats accredited to Zambia, that is only those attached to embassies and high commissions, are required by this act to provide the necessary information. Zambians residing within ambassadors and high commissioners' residences, e.g. workers, will have to be enumerated. The Zambia Statistics Agency will get permission from Ministry of Foreign Affairs to go into those residences and interview the Zambians. Cooperation of the people is most important if the census is to be a success. You must show great courtesy so that you can get the cooperation of the people. Sometimes you may come across some persons who may be reluctant to be enumerated. When every effort to persuade them to provide the necessary information has failed, and they persist in refusing to answer questions, then the matter should be reported to your supervisor. Do not take the law into your own hands by threatening people with possible prosecution. Confidentiality of census information. You and all other census officials are required to take an oath of secrecy in the presence of a magistrate or a commissioner of oaths. If it is found that anyone has shown the census information or in any other way has disclosed the information contained on the tablet to any unauthorized person, he or she will be liable to prosecution under the Statistics Act No. 13 of 2018 of the laws of the Republic of Zambia. In the course of your work, do not leave the census materials, e.g. tablet, issued to you in any place where an authorized person may have access to them. You should always keep in your mind that failure to comply with any of the instructions could jeopardize the census. This could in turn lead to the termination of the contract between you and your employer, that is the government, and even your possible prosecution in some cases. Importance of your work as an enumerator. The Census of Population and Housing is an important national undertaking. As an enumerator, your work is of great significance in the chain of events, and your responsibility is heavy. Without your attention to detail and total commitment, it will not be possible to conduct the census successfully. The data you will collect from respondents will be processed using the most appropriate information technology. As a primary data collector, the quality of information to be derived from the data is dependent on what you collect from the respondents. After the data has been collected and found erroneous at the processing stage, It is not only an expensive venture to go back and make corrections from the source, but it could prove to be impossible, since the original respondents may no longer be at the location you visited. It is important to note that your role is key in this exercise. In general, the enumerator, which is you, is responsible for the following: locating the structures and households in your enumeration area and completing the questionnaire for each household and group quotas, identifying all eligible persons to be included in each household, returning to households if those households were not able to be enumerated when you visited last, and marking completed households with a properly filled out census sticker. These responsibilities will be described in detail later in this guide. Census Organization. The country is divided in 10 provinces and 116 districts. Each district is divided into constituencies, thereafter into wards. Zambia Statistics Agency then divides the wards in enumeration areas, EAs. The 2021 census is expected to have over 31,000 EAs. Each EA will be assigned to an enumerator. Therefore, about 31,000 enumerators will be hired to carry out the enumeration exercise. The enumerators will be supervised by supervisors. In all, there will be about 8,000 supervisors. The master trainer will be in charge of all the technical aspects of the census in the district. The District Census Coordinator, DCC, will be in charge of the district in technical and administrative matters. 4 to 7 enumerators will be working under a supervisor. Your supervisor will issue a tablet and other materials to you and will be responsible for organizing your activities. He or she will also explain and show you the boundaries of your enumeration area and give you instructions as to the order in which you should enumerate the people living in different parts of your EA. During the enumeration period, you must keep in constant touch with your supervisor to enable him or her make adjustments to your program of work if necessary. You should also report any difficult cases, such as persons who persist in refusing to answer questions, to your supervisor. He or she will then either handle the matter personally or give you advice on how to proceed. Your supervisor will also be visiting you at intervals during the enumeration to see how you are getting on with the work. He or she will check through your work, and if he or she finds any mistakes, you will be required to correct them, even if it may require revisiting the households concerned. Materials. You will be given the following materials: stickers, a notebook, letter of introduction, tablet, power bank, pens, bag, a census apron, census t-shirt, a face mask, hand sanitizer, and identification card, also known as ID. When you have completed your work, you should return all these materials to your supervisor, excluding pens, notepad, bag, face mask, hand sanitizer, and census t-shirt. Census Questionnaires. 2 separate questionnaires will be given: a household questionnaire and an institutional questionnaire. The household questionnaire includes a cover page to identify the households and their location. Among other things, the household questionnaire collects information on the following: socio-demographic characteristics, population movement, activity limitations, education, economic activities, housing characteristics, household mortality, and agricultural activities. Household members, those that usually live in the household, and visitors, those that do not usually live in the household, but who stayed there the previous night, are eligible to be enumerated. The institutional questionnaire is substantially shorter, can also sometimes be referred to as group quotas questionnaire, and includes institutionalized and non-institutionalized population. Data is collected from collective quotas such as guest houses, hospitals, prisons, and more. The institutional questionnaire is covered in more detail in Chapter 7. Your training. Your training will include a mix of classroom and practical content. You will be learning both how to give the population and housing census questionnaire and also good interviewing skills in general. During the training, each questionnaire section and question will be covered in detail, including discussion of some areas which may be challenging for enumerators or for respondents. Make sure that you practice reading the questions aloud and get experience in practicing role-playing interviewing. This training will also include field practice interviews with actual household respondents. Your training as an enumerator will not end when this training ends. Your supervisor will regularly meet with you to discuss your work, something which is especially important early in fieldwork process. When you come across the challenging situations, please discuss them with others in your team. It is very likely that any challenges that you encounter will be encountered by other enumerators too. To assist you with your continued training, your supervisor will spot check some of the addresses selected for re-interviewing to be sure that you interviewed the correct households and the correct respondents. Review questionnaires to be sure it is complete and consistent. Observe some of your interviews to ensure that you are asking the questions correctly and recording the answers properly. Meet with you regularly to discuss performance and help you resolve any problems that you might have with finding the assigned households, understanding the questionnaire, or dealing with difficult respondents. Census leadership may terminate the service of any enumerator who is not performing at the level necessary to produce high-quality data required to make the 2021 census a success.